Mexican legislative candidate family killed. Okay. Jose Francisco Fuentes Esperon and their 2 sons found inside their home dead. And apparently, this Mexican legislator had been tortured. He was probably tortured before he was killed while they killed his family in front of him. While they killed his wife and his 2 sons. I mean, these are the types of people that we're dealing with. Hardcore, contract, cartel murderers. But we fall for their style. We fall for their grace. We fall for their appearance because they're in a suit and a tie. Okay? Well, I got news for you. That suit and tie is nothing but a gangster disguise for a cartel. And, here it is. I mean, they are ruthless. They killed his 10-year-old and his 13-year-old. They choked him to death, probably in front of their father. Just disgusting. It shows you the way of the world. Everything isn't always happiness and unicorns, folks. And meanwhile, they don't have the murderers. They don't know any of that stuff. Here's some global warming propaganda, some green movement propaganda, if you will. Britain heading back to the dark ages. The UK is facing a tipping point over the next few years in its ability to generate enough power to satisfy an ever-increasing demand. Again, they're here to tell you, we don't have enough. We're going to have to start imposing a carbon tax. Carbon tax is out in the open at this point. You're going to be taxed on how many cars you drive, what kind of garbage you have, the size of your home, what your electric bill is like. And we've been telling you because they've been prepared. They're prepping this all over the place. You're seeing it in the Telegraph, the Guardian. You're seeing it in Reuters. Remember, Reuters changed their environmental section on their website to Green Business News. When California was hit with a spate of crippling power cuts 8 years ago, it was not simply the fault of the unscrupulous energy supplier called Enron manipulating prices. No, really, it was the fault of Enron manipulating prices, and they proved that those rolling blackouts were nothing but shenanigans in order to instill fear into the people. That's what that was. But they're just going to lie to you here and just say, hey, the power supply could be bad by 2017 and we could have 1970-style blackouts here in Britain. Totally made up to get you to accept the new exorbitant price tag that they're going to put on for breathing and other goodies. Breathing. You breathe too much, your carbon footprint's bad. I think we need a one-child policy. That's what we need. Well, what was it? 2.2 kids is what Holdren said in his book Ecoscience. 2.2. And then he suggests that if you want the third kid, you have to buy the 0.2 kids from 4 other families, making it so that you can have a third child. And he also advocates in here that if you have more than 2 children in public school, that you have to pay for it. So you got to start paying for the third kid to go to school. Just unbelievable ridiculousness. All right, let's jump back to some callers. 888-201-2244. Dan in Wisconsin. Dan, you're on the line.
Hey, Jason. How are you guys doing? I just wanted to say that what you and Alex are doing is great, and I wanted to draw your attention to, if you haven't already seen it, and your listeners' attention to a document that was drafted in 1996 by a bunch of PhD professors called Alternative Futures for 2025, Security Planning to Avoid Surprise. In that document, they outlined a swine flu epidemic that was bioengineered. On page 67 of that document, you can find it on the Air Force website.
Read the headline again for me. Read the headline again so we can get this. What's the headline?
Okay, it's Alternative Futures for 2025. Security Planning to Avoid Surprise.
Futures for 2025. I was not aware of that, and I thank you for the call. We're going to check it out. Futures for 2025. You too, man. I appreciate the information. We can't cover it all, but you can get at me over at my myspace.com myspace.com/ Jason Bermas or facebook.com / the Infowarrior. I do check my emails there. I do check what gets posted on my wall. I do find a lot of news there. So if somebody wants to pump this document over to me, Alternative Futures for 2025, I believe it was, for 2025. And very interesting. I guess on page 67, they deal with a bioengineered swine flu epidemic. Weird. Let's go to Thomas in Alabama. Thomas, you're on the line. And we got to let him go. It's just so difficult sometimes, folks. I mean, you try to go to the callers, you try to make it a caller-based show, and then you get static in the background, or somebody's on their lawnmower, or the dog's barking. I mean, so difficult to do. I want to remind everybody that the first 2 hours of this program was solely dedicated to the National Geographic hit piece that aired on Monday. I'm encouraging everybody to get the prisonplanet.tv video feed, and please, please, please post it on YouTube. Get it out there, because we refute every single point that they try to make. We show you their chicanery. We show you their tricks. We show you their Johnny nonsense. And believe me, there's plenty of it. And when I say plenty, I mean in abundance. They tried to make it into a psychological special. And remember, the beginning we're crazy, and at the end they vindicate that we're crazy. And in between are 3 false experiments that prove absolutely nothing. They frame the arguments. Fire can't deform steel. No one in 9/11 Truth, you show me the quotation of anybody prominent in 9/11 Truth that ever said that fire cannot deform steel. And then they don't want to use a steel beam from the World Trade Center or anything to scale, and they want to tell you all the fireproofing's gone. And then they put an I-beam on 2,000 plus degree temperature and it buckles. Of course it's going to buckle. No one said it wasn't going to buckle. We're going to come back, take some final calls, get your perspectives out there. It's the Infowarrior with Jason Bermas. Once a week, folks, Sundays, 6 to 9 Central Time. Tune in, Infowars.com, prisonplanet.tv.